Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. And it is an honor and privilege to have Mr. Bill Fraley of Matt Mullins and the Bringdowns from Beckley, West Virginia on the show. Going to be talking to him about their new album that's out right now called Family, Music, and Beer. Great combination. So, Bill, how's it going, my friend?
Going great, man. How are you today?
Doing awesome. Glad to have you on the show and talk to you guys. Well, talk to you.
Glad to be here.
Talk to you about your band and the music and everything. So let's jump right into this. What's impressed you the most about making the album Family, Music, Beer? What's caught your eye about it, if anything, man?
Oh, wow. Honestly, I've been in the studio as a session musician for a few other bands, a few other artists, and this was the first. This started off as the same way. I was supposed to just be a session guy for Matt's solo album, and after one practice, we decided we should be a band. And so it took a new direction. So, what really was fun about it and impressed me was doing something like that. We were just having fun and hanging out and writing songs and going in and recording them. And it was very laid back. Part of that was the studio atmosphere. We did it in a great studio in Beckley called Kid in the Background. And those guys were great. They helped us a lot. They made it easy for us. We could just show up and play, and we didn't have to worry about anything else. And they made sure everything else worked fine. And it was just a great experience. Everything about it was.
Being a session guitarist, you sat in with different artists and bands and things like that. But in the back of your mind, did you want to be with a band or just do a session?
No, I definitely wanted to be with a band. I don't usually, I've done some session work, some upright bass session work and some electric bass both, but I don't usually, that's not my thing. I don't really usually do session stuff. It just so happens that I've been in bands and I've got other friends who play music and they'll be like, hey, I need somebody to play on this record. Well, if I'm free, I'll do it because I just like to play. But I prefer to be in a band. And, Matt and I have been in separate bands for years that shared the stage together a lot. And we shared a lot of shows together, and we always kind of joked around about being in a band together. But, we played one or two shows together, but never really did a band. And when we started doing this one, it just made sense. As soon as we did it, we're like, wow, this is the band we've been looking for.
This album was produced by you guys, correct?
It was actually produced. We kind of helped produce it. It was actually produced by Kid in the Background, and it's a studio out of Beckley. And Jamie Lee Smith and Jason Lockhart are the co-owners of that studio. And Jamie did most of the production work on it. We were all in there the whole time helping with it and making decisions on it too. But most of the production work, almost all the production work, was done by Jamie, with just our input.
How was working with Jamie on this? Did he push you guys or just let you guys go in your own little way and then step in when you needed to? Or
it depended on the song. There were some songs where we did them and he was like, well, that's it. He doesn't need anything else. And, there were other songs that, he had ideas that, I would have never thought of that were amazing. And there are some songs on the album that I ended up not even playing on because, there was, we had a friend named Marvin Carr who also plays upright bass, and Marvin played on a song and it was like, man, what Marvin's doing is perfect. So let's just, leave that there. And Marvin did that. And there's another, the guys in the studio, Jason, that also owns the studio, he played guitar on some of the songs. He would do the guitar track because we'd be messing with it and writing a song, and he would come up with something. We're like, wow, that's what it needs. Let Jason play that. So on the album, it's a lot of mix of a lot of different people from West Virginia that play different things on the album. But the core of it is Matt, Stuart Hill on guitar, Dylan McInturf on drums, and me on bass. That's the core, and that's what the band is now. But when we were doing the album, there was probably 15 or 20 different people that played on that album.
Speaking of the songs off this album you were talking about just a little bit ago, are there any songs that stick out to you more than any on this album, possibly?
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a few for different reasons. For me, the song Sweet Girl is a great one, but, that's kind of a selfish thing. I like playing that one on bass because the bass line I wrote for that one moves around a lot and it's fun to play. But, I also think Wake of the Flood is a great song that I just feel like the parts that everybody wrote kind of fit together and fell together. And then Matt's a great storyteller, and his stories in, Good Time Charlie and Whiskey Soaked are just great. He's a great lyricist and a great storyteller, and that's really his, what really kind of drew me to him to begin with when we first started hanging out and playing music.
How much growth musically have you seen this band go through since you joined it too?
Oh, wow, that's a lot, really. We had our first practice in January of 2016. Matt had started in the studio in December of 15 to start his solo album. We had our first rehearsal that next month, right after the new year. And I'd never played music with Stuart Hill ever. I knew Stuart. I knew he was awesome. I'd seen him, but I'd never played with him. Dylan had never played with him. Dylan and I played together in a cover band for 10 years. But so, we went in and I played a couple shows with Matt. Dylan had never played with Matt. So we went into a rehearsal, brand new with each other, agreeing, and it didn't take long before we clicked. We clicked that first time, and then we started putting some things together. But I recorded most of our rehearsals for the first 3 months with just a little field recorder. Mm-hmm. I can go back and listen to those now and listen to the same songs that when we play them now, and just the growth that's there. I mean, the things that we do, and we understand where the other one's going and what the other one's going to do, and we do things to complement each other. It was a really fast growth, but it was a really fun growth. I mean, it was a lot of growth in 1 year that we really became a band. We played out. We started playing out every weekend as soon as we could, and that really helped us too, filling these songs out live.
It's kind of like catching lightning in a bottle, even with bands coming together like that. It's kind of like meant to be kind of deal.
Oh yeah, for sure. I knew that we had a group of good musicians because Matt had been in Old School Abbey and in the Boatman, and Stuart Stuart was in Atomic Joe, and he's played with so many other bands. I mean, Stuart's toured the country playing as a side musician in different country bands. I mean, I knew that we had great core group of musicians. Dylan's been in a few local bands, What's Left or Noted Author, and he writes songs too. And it's just, I knew we had a good core group, and I knew what we were capable of, but I never would have dreamed that it would click like it did. I mean, like you said, it really was like lightning in the bottle. We kind of got this moment where we all clicked together at the same time.
Now, how much local support does Matt Mullins and the Bringdowns get via, fans that come out, plus radio and venues? Is it pretty simple for you guys to get shows, or do you actually have to go out of West Virginia to do this?
We get shows in West Virginia pretty easily because we've all played in these different bands for years, and they recognize who we are. At least they know who Matt Mullins is from him and the Boatman. Or I'll reach out to them and say, hey, I used to play in the Portators, and we want to book this show. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember you guys. But we also have to go out and do it because there's just not enough venues in West Virginia. We don't want to play the same. We don't want to be rolling into the same venue every 2 months or every month or two.
Right. Yeah.
We want to. So we have to go out just because there's not enough in West Virginia for us to be able to play every weekend and not be repeating a lot more than we would want to. So we try to mix it up between playing places we love in West Virginia, but also getting out and playing some other places too.
What helps you keep your mind open to new bass stuff or new music, man? What helps you do that? What helps you keep your mind fresh and open to that?
It's really not hard for me to keep my mind fresh and open. I've always had a really eclectic taste in music. And, my favorite bands are, the Beatles and Nirvana and Drive-By Truckers, which are all three very, very different bands. Government Mule, all those are very different from each other. Cream. But, yeah, that's my top 5 favorite bands right there. But if you go into the next 5 bands I like, you're going to find things like NWA and Black Flag, Minor Threat. Now, I love punk rock. I've played in punk rock bands. I love rap music. So I'm pretty open-minded on music. I just like good music. So it's not hard for me. It's funny is, when I was preparing, getting ready for you to call and stuff, I've been in my home office studio messing around, and I was listening to records this morning, and so far, I've listened to Jay Gonzalez, The Bittersweet, which he's the keyboardist and guitarist in the Drive-By Truckers. Listened to Bob Dylan, and then, I was rifling through the records, like, what am I going to listen to next? I was like, oh, hey, I forgot I had this Beastie Boys album. Let's listen to that. So, I kind of mix it up a lot. So I got a lot of eclectic taste. So.
What can fans expect at a show from Matt Mullins and the Bringdowns? Once they come out to see you guys, man, what are they going to get, Bill? They're
going to get a good time and a party, and hopefully they're going to get up and dance, and they're going to enjoy it. They're going to get lots of stories. Matt, like I said, Matt's a great storyteller, not just in his songs, but also in between his songs on stage. I mean, Matt has got that personality that captivates you. People walk into a room and we're on stage, and they might walk in during a song, and they might think, yeah, man, these guys are good. Like that guitar player, he's really awesome. He's badass. But then when we're done with that song, and Matt's starting to talk and introduce another song or just talk to the crowd to interact with them, that's when they become captivated. I mean, he has really got a personality that really gets people's attention and keeps them engaged with the show, and he really does know how to interact with the crowd and keep that crowd engaged. And I think people will enjoy it a lot if they come out. It should be a lot of fun.
Do you like the digital era of recording and making albums and getting your music out there and social media the way it is today? Do you like this or no?
I love it. Now, granted, I listen to records at home. I don't listen to music digitally at home. I'm listening to everything on vinyl, but I love the digital thing that I can also take every album I own out with me in a little, thing that fits in my pocket and listen to it when I'm out for a jog or driving my truck. Reaching fans, when we did the album, we did a video for all 12 songs on the album. So we've got 12 videos out there, and our album release was actually not us playing, but we rented out a theater and played all the videos in a theater for people, and then we had a friends band play the after party. But having those videos out there, we were able to, reach a lot of people in other places that wouldn't have seen it as quickly, to help us reach out to people. So we played a show in Athens, Georgia last month to a full room of people who had never seen us play live before at all, but they had seen the videos or they had seen me posting the Kickstarter or seen Matt posting the Kickstarter when we were working on the album, and maybe they're a contributor to the Kickstarter. And they showed, we played to a room full just because we were able to reach people digitally before we ever got there. And it helps a lot with that.
What does Matt Mullins and the Bringdowns bring to the table for music, man, that's not out there as of right now, Bill?
Oh, wow. I don't know if we do anything that's not already out there, but I think that we do a really good job of combining different things that are out there. Like I say, Matt's a storyteller, and Matt comes from, he likes a lot of, Matt's a bluegrass guy, really. He loves bluegrass, but he also loves the band and, rock like that, and the harmonies and the stories that are in those songs. And then you've got me who is, all about, wanting to listen to punk rock and play punk rock, but I'm also wanting to play jam band and stuff. And then, Stewart can play any style there is. I mean, he can go from the classic country lick of Waylon Jennings straight into, a thrash metal Metallica solo without blinking an eye, and you'll think, wow, how can he combine these two things? And you say he's got a lot of influences. He's really into a lot of different rocks from the 90s and the 80s, and he also loves metal and stoner doom. And then Dylan has, I talk about my eclectic taste, but honestly, Dylan might, I don't know if he has as eclectic of a taste. He probably does, but I know he has way more knowledge about different styles of music than any of us, and he really can float back and forth between all these different genres and pull from them and bring them into his drumming, and also suggestions on writing songs that I think we just do a good job of bringing in a little bit of everything. I guess we kind of classify alt country / rock, but I mean, if you listen to the album, I mean, there's some songs on there that sound really, country or alt country, but then, like Whiskey Soaked or Good Time Charlie, but then you go over and listen to the song Disengage, and it's, very Afghan Whigs style of, it's got a deeper, darker rock, and it's rock. I mean, it's definitely straight up rock. There's no country in that song at all. And which, Sweet Girl is very, very blues based, which is something that Stewart and I both love. And Stewart's a huge Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, and I love just about any kind of blues music. So, I mean, we do try to keep it eclectic, but we still try to make sure that it all ties together enough that you realize it's the same band from song to song.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, that's what I want to do right there?
Oh, wow. As a little kid, I always loved music, listened to my parents' music. Even if I didn't like the music they were listening to, I still listened to it. And, luckily I got into things like the Beatles very early from my parents' friends. My parents didn't dislike the Beatles. They just didn't listen to them much. Their friends did. And at some point, when I was in elementary school, I was one of the few kids on my street that was still in elementary school. Most of the rest of them on the street were high school kids. So a bunch of these high school kids started a band. And I would go to their house and just sit there and listen to them and watch them play. And I started thinking, wow, like, these are my neighbors, and if they can be in a band, like, why can't I play music? And that's pretty much, what I was like, I want to do this. I want to play music. And then I spent, a number of years thinking I was going to try to play, but never really learning to play, thinking it was just going to come to me one day. So I didn't really learn to play until I was in high school or college. But that bug hit me, when I was probably 10 or 11, that it is something I want to do. And I'd spent a lot of time when I was younger carrying those guys' gears, and I'd carry guitars in for them, and they'd let me run lights for them at shows that were all ages shows that I could get into. They'd let me come in and run their light board for them and things like that. But I really, I was I got the bug early. I just wasn't able to make it come to fruition until later on.
Any show or moment that stands out to you more than any being part of this band, possibly, that you're sitting there thinking, man, I can't believe I'm actually doing this right now. This is actually one of the coolest moments ever, possibly.
You know, it's funny. We've only been a band a little over a year, and I've had a couple of those already.
Wow.
You know, we got to play on the main stage at Deep Roots Mountain Revival Music Festival, their inaugural festival. And they're on the site that All Good Music Festival used to be on. And we played 2 sets there. We played one on the main stage and one on one of the side stages. But, you know, we're playing on the main stage, and then that's the same stage that, you know, Blackberry Smoke also played on that festival. And Jamie Johnson had Alison Krauss with him sitting in at that festival. And, you know, it was really cool to think, we're on the main stage of this festival with these, people who we love and want to go see. And it was pretty surreal. It was pretty awesome, you know, and had that opportunity. And then that show we did in Athens, Georgia, it was actually a kickoff pre-party kind of show for, you know, one of my favorite bands, I said, is the Drive By Truckers, and they do their 3 homecoming night shows in Athens, Georgia, and they're on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And we went down and played the Wednesday night pre-party kickoff with their merch guy. Also has a band too, and we opened for his band, and a band from Nashville called The Dangerous Method. They also played there with us. They played first, and then us, and then Pilgrim from Athens, Georgia. And during that, I was like, this is so surreal. This is, you know, I've never thought I'd get the opportunity to come down here and play this kickoff thing for one of my favorite bands. This is just awesome. This is amazing.
Well, anything I could do to help you guys out, please never hesitate to reach out to me, Bill. How can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy this new album, buy some more merchandise, stay in touch with tour dates, things like that. How can they do that?
Well, we keep everything on our Facebook, which is facebook.com/Bringdowns. You can actually order our merch. So we've got a link on there for our online web store that's through Big Cartel. So you can order the album there. If you want it on vinyl, you can order T-shirts and koozies there, stickers. If you just want the album digitally, you can go to Amazon or iTunes. It's both of those places. You can download it digitally and get it there. We keep our schedule for all our shows on our Facebook page also. And then if you go to Matt Mullins Music on YouTube, you can see the videos for all 12 songs on the album, plus a couple live videos from our Athens show that we played. And you can follow us on any of those places.
Before I let you go, good sir, will you care to do a promo for the show?
We'd be happy to, man. This is Bill Fraley with Matt Mullins and the Bringdowns, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber City Radio. Thanks, Bill.
Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.